So we are focusing on, I'll just open this. Where is this book? Sorry. Yeah, it took me some time. This Affirmations for Self-Healing. This is a book by Swami Kriyananda ji. So in which I'll read the foreword very soon. We also had done a series on it, which is on Ananda India YouTube channel. I think Vineet might have also mentioned it last week. So you could explore there. This is a very beautiful book. And even presently in the monastery, every day our morning meeting starts with affirmation. It just helps us dive in. There's so much treasure in each of these 52 aspects or affirmations which have been laid out here. So I highly recommend this for your this thing. And so also I'll also just now read out what is written by Swamiji. This is in the, I think, story behind the story, or in the same in the introduction to affirmation. So I'll just share the screen. It will be much more better again. So Swamiji says, the thoughts in this book are those by which I have tried to live my life. They are the fruit of experience, not of book learning. They represent lessons learned sometimes in sorrow, disappointment, and pain, and other times in the thrill of discovery, of expanding joy. Sometimes I've quoted the wise words of my spiritual teacher. For it might also be said that none of this book could have ever been written had it not been for the guidance that I received from him. There are 52 basic subjects covered. Thus, they can be used for every week of the year. But again, if you prefer, you can meditate on the qualities that are most meaningful to you, turning to them at times of special need. This book, Affirmations for Self-Healing. Okay. So I think just as Swamiji explains, these from his experience, this has come from his from his depths. So it's very inspiring when you go through them. And now just diving much more deeper in the introduction, Swamiji explains that affirmation is a statement of truth that which we would like to aspire to have it in our life. So affirmation is a statement of truth that which we aspire to make it a reality in our life. So now now you all might have heard Swamiji gives this example also that many people quote, we are what we eat, we become what we eat. And he says how true it is that it also can be that whatever you think, so you become. You heard that quote, and how powerful it is that your thoughts. And many times you also might have witnessed that how due to our mental strength, we can also control our physical ailments, or in some ways you can avoid some situations, or you can also how much impact it bears on your physical health just by your mind power. And so it's very important, and how affirmations can work. Now let's look into it. So today's topic, working with affirmations. So here Swamiji explains about super consciousness. What is super consciousness? Super consciousness is an awareness of the higher self. So let's say whenever we are in the state of whatever extent we have practiced from our meditations or after meditations, you all would have experienced this. There is this flow of grace, this flow from the higher self, which will help us to avoid problems, which has helped us to take the right decisions, which has helped us to stay calm inward. And here Swami Kriyananda ji explains that while doing affirmations, it should be done in such a way that it lifts us, this affirmations lifts us towards this super conscious state. And it's very important that we also do with that spirit. For example, if you do these affirmations at the spiritual eye, like focusing our energies here, the seat of super consciousness, it's much more beneficial. And how to make this experience more real is in this super consciousness experience also, you have to do it with all thy concentration. Doing with concentration, with your complete awareness is very important, is what Swamiji explains in this. So regarding the points, helping us, the super consciousness, the concentration, and there's also one more point he touches on. He says, when you do it, what happens when you do with the state of super consciousness is, it also brings in the flow of grace and God. Without the flow of grace and God, these affirmations are only temporarily successful, because you're not affirming your true reality. It might become a little egoistic, or somehow it will not turn into a permanent this thing. But with so also he recommends that in this book particularly, if you read, which Brahmachari Vineet will lead us into one of these in this session, there'll be a prayer at the end of affirmation. So the prayer, he explains that by doing this prayer, this affirmation doesn't feel like beggarly, that I want this or I want. Sometimes you have seen this, there is some Veda, this thing, I don't know, it's Namakam or a different one, in which we keep praising God. You're this, you're that. And sometimes the God's master says that God doesn't want us only to be praising him. He also wants our love. And in the same way, by doing prayer, it feels that we are his child, and we are asking him because we are his child, so that all the wealth of his becomes ours. So we are just claiming his thing. So these few points, super consciousness, concentration, prayer, and these things will help us to make this will help us to how to work with affirmations better and better, and to go deeper. So now I'll also now touch on the story of Swami Kriyananda ji from Raj Yoga book. I don't know how many of you remember, there is a part called Affirmations there in the Raj Yoga book, and in which he explained this incident of his smoking. How did he overcome the incident, the habit of smoking? This was before he came to the spiritual path. So he had friends, and he had developed this habit of smoking. So he himself said, in between his smokes, he did not like the smell of the smoke in his. He tried many times to give it up, but somehow it did not happen. But he said he kept on telling, I haven't yet succeeded. He did not say I'm failure or something. He kept trying. And one day, after some time, he realized that he wants to be a hermit. So he thought, hermit, I have not seen any hermit who smokes. It's an unnecessary expense. So he thought, okay, that's a good motivation. Then he also realized that which hermit goes and tries to find cigarettes there in the forest, or who is finding God, and where will he get time for this, money for this? It's unnecessary waste. Then also he keeps going, and suddenly one day at the night before, while sleeping, he just firmly believes that he has given up smoking. And somehow there's a grace, I think, and this happens. And the next day when he gets up, he also affirmed it well, that he has given up smoking. The next day morning, he doesn't have the desire for it. He said that he had a pack of cigarettes with him. He just carried along with his friends, and he just kept giving them till it survived. It was there. And also there's a joke of Mark Twain. Mark Twain says that smoking is the easiest habit, quickest one to give or something. I've given up on it 1,000 times. It's the easiest one to give up. I've given it 1,000 times. That means each time you just pick up the habit again and again. But he said, Swamiji said, because of this, all these factors which helped him, he was able to give up smoking. And he explains what are these 5 factors. So in the book, I'm just going to, so whenever we imply this, try to apply this in our lives, we can use these lessons. So first one, he said, whenever he did not succeed, he did not say, I'm a failure. He said that I haven't yet succeeded. And the attitude with which he looked at it, he said, if an army was going and it got hit, he said they went back to regroup, to come back with a stronger attack. That's how we aimed at this. That's how we looked at it. Then the second one, he said, being a hermit was such a joyful incentive for him to give up smoking. And also he says that it was not a negative attitude. It was a positive affirmation. He was not like, I'll not only give up smoking. He replaced it with this hermit and this desire to become a hermit. And also he said it at the night time. It's very easier before you go to sleep, or it's also went deep into subconscious, and also he took it to superconscious. So before you go to sleep, he affirmed very well. This is the time when our mind slips into subconsciousness. And many times people get treated by hypnosis in the subconscious mind. It's all impactful, but Master said it will also weaken your will if you go to too much of hypnosis. So also it's important to take our affirmations deep into our subconscious, also into superconsciousness. And all these factors helped him he shares with us that to give up smoking. So now I think I'll just also share with you. I think you all know the story of two frogs. You might have heard this master story in which there are two frogs, and one they both fall in the bucket of milk. And one this big fat frog is there. After doing something, he finds this milk so much that he keeps hitting, and there's a small frog. Both are trying their best to come out of this. But big frog, after some time, he's so tired. He says, I'll give up. Small frog keeps telling him, no, come on, you can do it. Give some more. Don't give up. Keep affirming. We can do it. But somehow he gives up. And the small frog keeps doing. He tells, even if I have to die, I have to die, at least trying my best. And he keeps doing. And suddenly, all this grace happens, and this milk starts turning into this butter. And suddenly, he feels the butter chunk on it. He steps on it, and he flies out. So how the grace also, like self-effort draws grace. So using this affirmations, all these things will help us draw grace. And also Master used to say that Stalin, some of you might know, he used to tell in his car when nobody were around, or when he got into a car, I am steel, or in his language, like I am steel. He used to affirm it with such ferocity, is what Master said. And also Master says about this boxers, an incident of two boxers. It's said that each boxer keeps fighting till the end. The last person who throws the punch is the one who wins. He doesn't give up. So I think with that attitude of somehow affirmations and working with these things, taking it to super consciousness, having the concentration, and all these by prayer, by involving their grace and their presence, we can make this affirmations a reality, because we all want to change habits. We all want to do this. So how with their grace we can really change? This is what I wanted to share. And now I'll request Brahmachari Vineet to now share.
Thank you, Premdas. Hello, everyone. Namaste. It's nice to see some of you, faces, and it's nice to see the names of some of the people attending. It's very nice to also finally, meet people in person. I've started, like, the last few weeks I was traveling, and it just is so different energetically, when we get to be with people in the same room. But nevertheless, this is also very good, and I'm very happy to be sharing this time. Somehow, every Zoom meeting I attend, I'm just like, yes, we are making a connection, and hopefully, we get to meet people in person, all of you, and you meeting us meeting you. And I hope as the year progresses, we're going to have more retreats, more opportunities to meet. So anyways, that was my enthusiasm, which took me off topic, but the topic is, of course, affirmations for self-healing over here. And, Premdas basically summed up the technique and everything very beautifully. So I don't know if there's anything to add to that, except for us to really experience it, which we will in some time. But I was just thinking that there's so much depth to it that we might do 2 sessions or 3 sessions of perhaps, half an hour each. But we can go really deep in these topics individually from our own center. So I would really encourage you to, get this book, get the Affirmations for Self-Healing and the Scientific Healing Affirmations book, and work with it. I was just pondering on this thought. Very often, when we start meditating, the first concern on the spiritual path that comes is that I have too many thoughts coming in. I don't have control on my mind. The mind keeps churning thoughts. My mind keeps going there. I don't have control over it. And it's just almost every meditation class, whether it is a class for a beginner or it is a class for someone who's taken Kriya Yoga, the question is very similar. Maybe the degrees change a little bit. And if I were to ask for a show of hands, who meditated the last time and their thoughts wandered, whose mind wandered, I think everyone will probably raise our hands, and I don't want to make that happen. I appreciate your spirit, Sailesh, very much, but I think all of us are going to raise our hands. But if you have done your homework, which Premdas was talking about, psychological affirmations, which we did last time, There's a phrase over there which Yogananda ji wrote, and it says, "Teach me to own again, oh, own again, my matter, soul, mind, and brain, that I may give them to thee." And it goes on, but teach me to own again, oh, own again, my matter, soul, mind, and brain. So, how can we offer our energies to God if we don't own our own energies, if we don't own our own thoughts, if we don't have control over our own selves? Affirmations can help us with that. It's not just about suddenly saying, okay, stop the thoughts. I'm meditating now. During the day, we have had like hundreds of thousands of thoughts. And then to suddenly sit down and say, stop, it's not going to stop. That's why we call it the monkey mind. So why not change those thoughts first from whatever random thoughts they are to a very focused point of view? Like you can focus it on the quality of love or joy, whatever the quality of the divine. And in this book, there are 52 of those divine qualities which we can tune into. So take that. If you're dealing with worry before your meditation, take something which deals with peace, take something which deals with calmness. If there is a sort of anger, maybe use an affirmation for love. If you feel like, oh, this person is not treating me well, why should I be the one doing all the work? Maybe you should do an affirmation on service, which I have been doing lately. And all these things, whatever is the issue we are dealing with, let's work on the positive antidote of that. And once we have changed the quality, then those thoughts stop to bother us, even in our meditation, even in our day-to-day life. Our subconscious mind is always, creating a movie. Why not us decide which movie it needs to play rather than some random channel which comes on? So let's be in charge and use these affirmations even in that way. You can do it after your meditation, after you wake up, before you sleep. There was a class I was once giving and I got the order completely wrong. I said before you wake up and after you sleep. I think we need to be great yogis to be able to do that. But for now, after you wake up and before you sleep is a good idea, probably. So try these affirmations, and then once from all that hundreds of thoughts which our mind has created, we are able to focus those thoughts on these qualities, then taking them into meditation, then taking them into having control over ourselves, then taking them into our relationship, into our conversations, into our attitudes, it will become much easier. But until then, like Master said in that affirmation, my matter, soul, mind, and brain, that the mind and brain are sold to the matter because our energy is just going outward. And affirmations can help us in just reversing that energy. And that is why when we start with the affirmations, we start it out loud. We really try to say, okay, enough of it, get in tune, get in line. It's just like sometimes you have to use force in the beginning, and then we take it slowly inward and then upward to the superconscious mind. So try doing that in this next week. Take any one affirmation, whatever you feel like, and use it. We, like Premdas was saying, we have been using affirmations at the monastery for a very long time. And I find it really, really helpful when we start our morning with a reading on a quality and then affirming it together, and then the prayer, and then you start your day. And why just leave it over there? Bring back the brain again and again to that point of center which we are looking at. The mind is like the gramophone, we have had patterns. If you remember those old discs, and it's just going round and round and round, and every time we are just thinking, oh, this person shouldn't have done this, why did he say that, I'm going to reply it this way, I'm going to do this. The mind keeps going on and on and on. Why not break the cycle? Why not bring newer grooves into that cycle and use these affirmations in doing that? So there's a lot we can talk about that, but let's use them. And just one last thing, when we affirm them together today, let it not be mere words. Let's try to really go and make them a part of our consciousness. Let them be a part of our whole being. Because we have limited time, I will probably do it out loud 3 times, in a normal voice 3 times, whispering 3 times, taking to the subconscious 3 times, and then going to the superconscious 3 times. But that's because we have a limitation of time. But when you're practicing on your own, just do them over and over, and then gradually go, reduce the outwardness and take it inward. You can never overdo affirmations, and you will feel that you can always go deeper and deeper and deeper into these words. So without further ado, let me read on the quality of service, which we have been doing at the monastery this week. And after that, we can do the affirmation together, and then I will read the prayer at the end. So let's sit up straight. We can close our eyes if needed. Let's inhale, tense the whole body with a double breath. Exhale and relax. Twice more. Last time. This time, when you exhale, just let go of every thought, worry, and bring your attention completely to the now. And let's tune in to these words of Swami Kriyananda on the quality of service. Service, Swamiji says, is ennobling. It is a way of offering a human littleness into the great reality that is God. Service should not be given with the thought that one is serving people merely. It should be given with an inward consciousness to the Lord who resides in all creatures. When we serve others in this spirit, we find our own spirits becoming freed from egotism. Peace then fills us in the realization that there isn't anyone with whom we need compete. What joy to think that we belong to God. I'll read the affirmation once, and then after that you can repeat with me. But one time I'll just read it through so that you can tune into these words. I will serve God through others, and by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Now I'll say out loud, and please repeat with me first out loud. I will serve God through others, and by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. I will serve God through others, and by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. I will serve God through others, and by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Now, in a normal voice, I will serve God through others, and by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. I will serve God through others, and by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. One more time in a normal voice. Let them not be mere words. Try to tune in deeply to them with these words. I will serve God through others, and by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Now whispering, I will serve God through others, and by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. I will serve God through others. And by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. I will serve God through others. And by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Now mentally taking it to the subconscious mind, I will serve God through others. And by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. I will serve God through others. And by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Now gazing at the point between the eyebrows, taking to the superconscious mind, repeat again mentally, but with deep concentration. I will serve God through others. And by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. I will serve God through others. And by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. One last time, I will serve God through others. And by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Let's take a moment and meditate on these words. And we'll end with a prayer. You can mentally repeat. All that I do, Lord, I do for love of Thee. Accept the flowers of my devotion, my service to Thee, as I place them on Thy altar of omnipresence. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.